Hello, Silkies. Welcome back to the channel. Um, I have got a very delightful design to teach you guys today. It's called the Waterfall necklace. At least that's what I'm calling it, because that's what it reminds me of. The chain that I'm using is called a herringbone pattern chain, and it's perfect for representing that same like organic fall of water, you know, in your design. And I wanted to incorporate the new leather knitted cord with it too, which I think just makes for an extravagant combination of materials. It's so easy to put together. It takes minutes. Um, and just a few materials that you need to know about, of course, to get started. But real quick, if you enjoy this content, please give this video a giant thumbs up, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. All these things are very important to the health of this channel, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting the type of content that you want with SilverSilk. So I'm going to flip over to the finished photo. This is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to pan over to my camera as well as the materials list. So, as I mentioned, there's just a few materials and, of course, a few tools involved. The first of which is a pair of chain nose pliers. I've got a pair of cutters, and I've got a pair of wide nose pliers. These two pliers are from Weber's, one of my favorite tool companies in the world. They just manufacture quality tools that are amazing. They just feel high end. They have a little bit of weight to them and are ergonomic and just easy to work with. So I love these things to pieces. And then my cutters are from a brand called Lindstrom, which are strong, strong cutters for just about any materials. I use everything from beading thread to craft wire with these. And it stayed sharp for over 13 years for me. So other than those tools, you'll need some materials. So I have got a fabulous new knitted leather chain. This one is called Sandstone, and it is a natural tan colored leather cord that has knitted wire on top, layered on top. So 6 individual needles take essentially like a string or a piece of wire that's as thin as your human hair and knits it into this gorgeous chain into a sock that's drawn over the leather cord. And so it's kind of give or take permanently on there. And when you cut it, it doesn't fray. And you can just do all kinds of magical things to it or string, chain or beads and stuff onto it, which is the case for today's project. This has a special coating on the wire itself, so it is tarnish resistant, by the way. So, with SilverSilk, its quality is definitely one of my top aspects, top things that I want to watch out for making SilverSilk. But it is a pure delight. So you're gonna need about, I would say 18 inches. The thing is, with this type of necklace, you can make it as long or as short as you want. You can go to a choker style and make it 15 inches. It really just depends on what your personal preference is for it. In this case, mine's probably more of a medium-sized necklace, so I'm going for the 18, 20-inch mark there. And don't forget, whenever we add the clasp in, it's going to add a few inches. Well, maybe not a few, probably an inch and a half extra to the end here, since we're adding on the end caps and stuff. Which actually brings me to the silver single-strand end caps, which are what these guys are. Now, these are unique to SilverSilk. They are made specifically for the SilverSilk chain. There are little teeth inside of this crimp, and you don't need any special tools other than those wide nose pliers that I showed you earlier to crimp these. And all you do is you just press it shut and you make sure that seam is closed. And that's pretty much it. These have a brass interior, which means that the metal plating that's been done over it inside of or underneath that is brass metal. And so you're going to get a very strong hold on your findings, and you're also going to get a very high quality finding at the end of it too. The coating that's been done on it is just fabulous. It takes a very long time and a lot of effort to tarnish these. But I'm one of those people that also just storage properly storages my jewelry pieces in Ziploc bags and stuff. So there's very, minimal exposure, or as much as I can take it down, of skin and air and stuff, and the oils from your skin, that would cause anything to tarnish. So while they're not tarnish resistant or tarnish proof, sorry, let me restate that. While they are not tarnish proof, they are tarnish resistant. And especially if you can take care of them over time, they will basically stay the same color forever. What else do we got on our list? We've got two jump rings, which are for the clasp. These are also from SilverSilk and More as a custom finding, and it has the same plating as well as the interior brass core as the findings that I showed you earlier did, the single strand end caps. So all of this is very consistent across the board. And then, of course, my clasp, which I'm just using my lobster claw clasp. Again, the same thing. All of this is custom plating over brass. And that's what I really love about my findings, particularly, is that the plating is consistent across the board. And so I kind of delve into those little details and stuff whenever I'm designing. You're going to need some decorative chain. So really, I say about 1.5 feet, because you're going to end up cutting it up and stuff anyway. This is just a little snippet of it. I'm actually going to show you how to work with the chain as we build this design together. So essentially, I'm going to half this or cut it in half, and then I'm going to apply it to the necklace as we put it together. So you'll need quite a few little remnant pieces of this. Anywhere from 3 inches to 1.5 to 2 inches. So I just have a bunch of them here that I've already pre-made. And as you can see, I've already attached my jump rings onto them. And that's what I wanted to show you guys how to do, because that's the big technique that you're going to take away from this design, is how to put on jump rings. But there is a special way to it. So, just bear with me here. I like to stagger instead of doing something that's more of a variation of a V shape or whatever. I like to kind of randomly put this in order. And, whenever I have this, I can kind of put maybe one in between here and here. So, just think about how you want this layout to look. In this case, I am staggering my design and making it a little bit more organic, as though it were a waterfall. Excuse me, as though it were a waterfall. So a lot of W in that. And so I want to make sure that I get lots of different sizes in with my chain. So I'm going to grab my chain, and I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers that I mentioned earlier. And what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to find the middle of this, and I'm just going to carefully grasp onto one of the chain links. This does have an enamel on it, so I want to be a little careful of how I handle this and don't squeeze it too much. In fact, I think I could even go, well, maybe I can't. I was thinking I could go just on that brass part, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit tight in that spot. And you know what? For good measure, I'm going to actually grab another pair of chain nose pliers that are bent. And you'll notice that the link, how it's sort of worked out here, is that there's a circle in the middle, and then there are those connections in between. So what we're trying to do is open up that circle that's right there between the enameled ends. And we're going to just kind of drop that extra bit of chain out. So I'll grab one side, grab the other, and I'm going to open it up just like I would a jump ring. Okay? And if it's still not coming out, it means you just haven't opened it up enough. There we go. See how that kind of fell out? And you can see that that loop opened up just like a jump ring. Okay, once you've done that, you can actually just close this back up as you would a jump ring. Again, just being as careful as you can to not mess up the enamel. This chain can be a little bit more tough, but just having a good grip on it is half the work. Okay, so I kind of press that back down and pretty much ready to go. So what we have now is this great little loop at the top. And the loop is useful if you want to attach stuff, but in this case, we're just going to actually clip it right off with my cutters. Just like that. Okay, we're going to grab a jump ring. Now, I don't know if I actually talked about these jump rings or had it mentioned in the materials list, so I apologize for that. Oh, wait, I do at the bottom, 7 to 10. Okay, let's talk about these jump rings. 7 to 10, 20 gauge, 6 millimeter inner diameter jump rings. The thing is, with a hole this small, you can only fit so much through it, right? So the 20 gauge 6 millimeter jump ring is the perfect fit. It is the key fit for this type of chain. So you want to make sure you grab those from the right place. I've noted it here. Just go ahead and hit up the search for those on the internets, and you'll definitely find a jump ring that is suited for this. And I'm using an antique brass color to match the chain, but you could see that my chain just slid right through quite easily. And I'll just close it the same way. So that's basically what I did on all these different little pieces is, let's see, just depends on how you want to arrange it right at this point. So let's do that. And let's put these in the center. There we go. So basically, you can just attach jump rings onto the tops of those once you get those chains, separated to your liking. And now I'm going to grab the leather cord and I'm going to just start stringing these on one at a time. Nothing to it. And if mixed metals is not your jam, it is mine. It might not be yours. You can definitely find chains that are consistent with each other, including chains from the SilverSilk line. There are 5 different colors so far of the knitted leather chain. And certainly you can find the herringbone chain online as well. And I've listed the sources in the description in case you're wondering where to grab some. But there we go. I just strung those one at a time and I get this beautiful centerpiece that's just organic, free-flowing, very romantic, like a waterfall. And now we can connect our end pieces together. So I'm going to grab my single strand end cap, and I want to make sure that the ends of my chain here are cleaned up. So I'm going to nip off the end. I'm going to kind of just shake all this stuff out. And there might be a few wire remnant pieces here at the ends, but what you can actually do is just separate them by kind of grabbing them and plucking them off if you need to. The thing that I've noticed is that they get in the way of my crimping sometimes, and whenever I squish my crimp, they tend to like stick out on the sides of the seam, and that's stuff that I'm trying to prevent from coming out and poking anyone else that's going to be wearing it. So I just make sure to do a little bit of housekeeping there. And then I'm just going to press it. You'll notice that my wide nose pliers are white at the tip. Well, I use a product called Tool Magic. Tool Magic creates a rubberized end, and so I can grip my findings with ease, and I can also protect them whenever I am squishing them, so that there's not going to be any marring or nicks in my finding. And certainly, because I want the entire design to look high-end, I don't want any of those things to show. So I would recommend having a wide nose pair of pliers from Wubbers and using a product called Tool Magic, which is also available online. And again, I've listed the source below of where you can grab some. Okay, same thing to this. I'm just going to clip it here at the end. Give myself a nice cut, and then I'm going to pluck off any wire bits here. Okay, there we go. Just a few. Usually there's like 2 or 3, not very many. Insert it into my end cap, grab my wide nose pliers, and press. I want to make sure that that seam is nice and closed when doing this on both sides. All right. Now, if you did this well, you're going to know that the little teeth inside the end cap are keeping that chain nice and secure. So at this point, I'm going to grab my jump rings. These are the 2 silver ones. These are a little bit thicker. And because they are from SilverSilk, the custom finding section of the site, they're going to be a little thicker because they do have a function here of supporting, the necklace weight essentially. And because you're going to be using this toggle quite a bit, I want to make sure that the jump ring is going to have a nice sturdy hold. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach those here at the ends. Just like that. And I can, of course, clip that together. And that is my necklace design. Very smart, very easy. I've got an attractive centerpiece. And this doesn't have to be chain. It could be beads, maybe, that you've kind of attached together with chain mount, or even, I don't know, like a rosary style simple loops, wire wrap loops. It could be chain that, could be any chain really, whether it is decorative chain like this or beaded chain. I think it just doesn't need too much work, Sometimes simplicity is okay. So I'm going to flip it back around to the picture as we have completed this design and back to my face. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did teaching it. It's such an easy design, again, that uses very few materials and very achievable. A new way to use SilverSilk's knitted leather cord in a different way. So I hope you leave inspired. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys again at the next tutorial. And happy